lads, welcome back to my channel. In this week's video I am upcycling a chest of drawers that I got in a charity shop for about €50. There was a pair of them. My mother took one, I took the other one. I just wanted a little bit of extra storage in my bedroom and I wanted to paint it something fun. So that's exactly what I did. I really hope you enjoy it. I did the majority of the detail with the top of a pencil. So if that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what will. Enjoy!
This is a lovely little chest of drawers I picked up. So it's bigger than a locker, but not as big as a chest of drawers. I got it in St.Vincent De Paul charity shop in Clonmel. I think it was about between 60 and €70, which I think is really good value. So the first thing I needed to do was remove the handles. I'm 100% going to keep these handles. I love this style handle. I think it's really, really cute. But I am going to change the legs. So what I did was I removed each handle. And remember when you're removing the handles, always go in with, don't go in with an electric screwdriver, always go in with just a handheld one, because you could erode the head of the screws and it kind of leads to a nightmare. So I then removed all the drawers, and this is so that I can give it all a good clean properly, because as you can see it's really dusty on the inside. So I removed all the drawers and then I decided to flip it upside down and start working on removing the legs. So these big button legs, I'm going to try my best to get them off in one piece so I can reuse them on something else. I love doing that when I want to change the legs up, because they always come in, the old legs always come in useful for another project. So I went in with my upholstery hammer and a little chisel. So I just kind of gently went round each corner and tried to pry it up really gently. It was quite difficult to get off, but just like pry it up little bits by little bits the whole way around the leg, so that I'm not, if I force it too much on one side, I can risk cracking it on the other side. So just gently prying it up and it'll come up eventually. So you'll notice it kind of lifting up a small little bit here, and then I can go around and just keep prying it and trying to get it off. So it's attached with nails. So if it was screws, it might have been a little bit easier to get up, but it was attached with nails, so I was just prying it up and wiggling it off as gently as I could without damaging the legs. So it did pop off eventually, and so once it's up, then I need to get the nails back. So I just hammer them back down into place, and then I can take them from the other, so from the inside of the chest of drawers, and I can just pull them up. So I just flipped it back round again, and then now is to clean it. So I used curl cutter, but sugar soap would be grand here as well. So just give it a spray down the whole piece, and I'd leave it sit for about 60 seconds, and that's so that I can break down any grime that needs to break down. So I did the outer shell and each individual drawer, and then I just came in with a cloth and give it all a wipe down. And then sanded all the awkward areas with a sanding block, and then make sure that you're wearing a really good mask when you're using a sander. So I'm using an orbital sander, and then I'm going to sand all the rest of the flat surfaces. So a sanding block for the awkward areas, and then an orbital sander for the flatter areas.
So working on this, and I started sanding it, I really liked the lightness of the wood. So I think I'm going to keep the top of it wood and maybe oil it like I did the worktop there, or the kitchen counter. I really like that, so I think I'll keep the top and paint the rest. I'm sanding some furniture, and I have three helpers. I've one that gives out all the time. That's Dottie and Betty, and then I've Blanche, because Blanche isn't a very nice, I was going to say person, chicken.
Once everything was sanded, then I went in with the brush attachment on my hoover and I removed all the big areas of dust. Make sure you get all the surface area and in on the drawers as well, and on the drawer fronts. So you're removing every bit of dust and on the surface area that you're working with. Once I've that done, then I just go in with a little tack cloth, give it a really quick little wipe down, and it will take all of the dust, that's any remaining dust that's left on the piece, it'll take it, and you'll be surprised how much this can grab. So like, that's how much dust is coming off that small little bit, and we're after hoovering it as well. So It does like take off that last little bit really, really. Then I just taped off all the edges of the drawers and started priming. So priming all the awkward areas first, and then went in a roller. Then so the two Fussy Blokes rollers are my favourite rollers. I don't think I'd ever use any other roller to roll the rest. Same then on the drawer front, so awkward areas first with a brush, and then go in with your roller and roll the rest. I decided as well that I was going to paint the top part of it, so I primed that as well. Then I did a little sketch of the chest of drawers and I started playing around with some designs. So I came up with 4 different ones. I'll probably use the other ones in like on different projects. So these were the 4 drawings that I did. I was going to go with the last one, and then last minute I changed my mind. So I painted the whole piece the light pink. I added these gorgeous legs that are just from Amazon. They were quite inexpensive. I think they were about €20. That was just basically 4 little screw holes, and I attached them with screws. Always make sure with your screws that you're not going through the timber. So I'd always just, before I would screw it in, I'd make sure I'd line up the screw on the piece of timber to make sure that it's not going to peep through the other side and like stop a drawer going in or be unsafe. So popped on the 4 legs, and then I got working on my design. So we just collected a few little artist brushes and the colours that I wanted to use, and I'd always have the design on my phone handy so that I can kind of refer back to it all the time. And I just did an overall shape with a little artist brush, and I'm going to fill this in. I'm not going to worry about the edge line. I'll do that afterwards. So usually I just roughly draw the shape, fill it in best I can, and then I'll come in with a smaller little artist brush and clean up any of those edge lines. It was really hard to get the circle around the grooves as well, so I'd always like step back from the piece, or maybe even take a picture of the piece when you're stepped back and you can have another look at it and think about it. But I'm doing it at an angle here, but you're better off doing it like straight in front to get those kind of groove lines right. And then I mixed up this little orange, and again I'm using the reference picture. I didn't have this orange like paint colour, so I mixed up a few different colours, but the minute I painted it I didn't like it, so I changed it. But here you can see with the smaller little artist brush, I just went in on all those little grooves and tidied up the line on the outside, and then I can fill in any bits after that. And then I just covered over the orange in a really light orange. So I just mixed up the colour again. And I'd always say, like, if you put on a colour and you don't like it, or there's something like not working, like take a step back. I would have taken a picture, took a step back and be like, that orange is wrong, I'll mix another colour. And the minute I mixed this and popped it on, I was like, that's it, that's the colours I wanted. So once I got my just rough shapes down, I went in with just the rubber on my pencil, dipped it in some of the blue paint, and started like stamping it on the piece of furniture. So basically a rubber is a stamp, so it's just popping on a little bit of paint and stamping it on. I tried to do like a circle pattern on this, but once I had it all like stamped and printed, you couldn't see those circle shapes anymore. But I really like the way that it turned out in the end. It's very like the drawing. Obviously this part took the longest as well, so I took major breaks because it was driving me mad. But it was easier to take out the drawers in sections. I popped the handle on, not permanently on it, but I just popped it on just so I could see what it was going to look like. I like doing that. Like I'm a kind of impatient that way. I picked up this little artist brush as well. So usually when I do a little section of the dots, I go in and fill in any little gaps or take off any like extra paint that might come off from the pencil as well, and do any little tip ups that I needed maybe on the pink colour or anything like that. Putting the dots on the grooves on the trimming around the drawers was really hard, so I kind of went in with the pencil for position, and then would have went back in with that small little artist brush to like fill it in or get any areas that I couldn't get in that kind of awkward gap. in to polish up the handles, I found this in the back of the cupboard. Now, there was no lid on it, and I wasn't sure it would work, but it did work. It's just a little brass cleaner, and it was quite watery. Usually it's more creamy, but I just chanced it and it worked out grand. So I just, with an old sock, I went in and I gave it a little buff, and then I came in with a microfiber cloth and buffed it off, and it came out really, really nice. It just said on the packet to never let it dry, so just pop it on and then buff it off straight away. And then I popped the handles back on, so just with the screws that came with it, I popped the same ones back on. And again, I would have done it with a hand screwdriver because it's very difficult to do this with an electric one. It can erode the heads, it leads to a lot of hassle, so it doesn't take that long by hand. So I just popped them in by hand for the finished look. So this is what it ended up like. I absolutely love it. It was really good fun painting it, and I love how like small little details, like just changing the legs, can really like change the whole look of a piece. I cannot wait to get this into my bedroom and put everything away into it, but I just really like how it turned out. If you have any questions or anything, just pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, but I'm delighted with it.
I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and there'll be more videos like this to come. And if you're in Ireland, I do workshops all over the country, so if you want to come, spend a day with me, learn everything you possibly can about upcycling furniture in one day, you will leave, and when you leave, you will know how to paint absolutely everything. So I'm going to put a little link in the box below. I have another video up on Sunday of a chicken coop I made this time last year. I had it all filmed, so I edited it all together, but it's a chicken coop like no other. I painted a mural on the inside. My chickens are very happy. And thanks a million for tuning in this week. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I love comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.